Hey there everyone, welcome back to another perfect pairing with me. I just got back from Creativeation by NAMTA 2025, and I'm excited to share some trends I noticed over at the Altenew booth. Keep watching to find out 3 exciting ways to embellish your card for future projects. Before we get into today's project, make sure you subscribe to the Altenew channel for more card making and paper crafting tutorials. My Perfect Pairings with Jaycee series explores crafting techniques that effortlessly blend sure-to-love new releases and well-loved Altenew favorites. If you love these kinds of crafty tutorials, hit the bell icon so you'll be notified of my videos airing on the 2nd and 4th Sunday. There were so many products on the Altenew booth wall at Creativeation by NAMTA that I had to pick up for myself. Some of these are recent and not so recent releases, but after seeing samples from the amazing design team at Altenew, I had to snag some of the missing crafty items for my stash. Up first is Mushroom Garden Layering Stencil. I couldn't help but incorporate a variety of color mixtures for this first card, and also one of the first trendy items I noticed at the Altenew booth. On my 9x12 sticky mat grid, I'll take my 100-pound white cardstock and position the panel in the center. This part isn't necessary, but in order to keep my sticky mat clean during these next steps, I am outlining the cardstock panel with satin masking tape. You'll see at the end of this segment why this helped save me a cleaning step. Now I'm positioning the number 1 layer stencil from Mushroom Garden to the center of my panel, and the colors I'll use to ink blend this card are from Deco Garden Fresh Dye ink set. These colors have been incorporated into the Altenew mixture of colors, so you may have duplicates or similar colors already in your stash. I'd recommend an orange red, blush pink, vibrant yellow, blue teal, and a deep true blue and yellow green. I'm using a variety of sizes of ink blending tools like the large ink blending tools, small and mini brushes depending on what I feel is easier for each layer. On layer 1, I'm creating a blend of dusty pink to mid yellow. On layer 2, I'm mixing a gradient of pool to navy, where dusty pink and mid yellow were respectively. For these first 2 layers, I'm using the large ink blending brushes for complete coverage and smooth gradients. On layer 3, I applied a saturated wash of Olaf ink with a large ink blending brush. But then with the mini ink blending tools, I added small gradients of coral red to the base of the 7-leafed bundles, just so that there's separation between the detail layer of the mushroom stalk or stipe and the mushroom gill underside. On the final layer, number 4, this will be a multi-step color process. First, I'm applying coral red and Olaf ink only to the shaded layer of the mushroom cap. I'm using mini ink blending brushes to apply the shading. I'm not so careful about getting the ink precisely in its spot because any over-inking will be covered up anyway. I'm doing the same thing on the bottom half of the panel with Olaf and another mini ink blending tool to apply the shading to the yellow-capped mushrooms. With a dry microfiber cloth, I'm wiping away the ink on the surface of the stencil. Then with pieces of satin masking tape, I'm applying little masks to the shaded mushroom cap areas I just stenciled. I do want to leave the mushroom scales or the little dots, branches, and leaf vein details exposed for this next step. The shimmer relief pastes were such a hit at the Altenew booth. Bridget and I had such a blast demoing this, and I had to swipe this used jar for myself. This is Mayan Gold Shimmer Relief Paste. This is my favorite gold. It's just the perfect balance of yellows, and it's not too green or not too red. But anyway, I'm using the number 6 palette knife from the palette knife set, also a hit at the Altenew booth because they're metal, to apply the shimmer relief paste to the remaining areas of the number 4 stencil. So now here is where the satin masking tape helped me on my 9x12 sticky mat. I'm not so concerned about the over stenciling with the ink. It's the shimmer relief paste that I don't want drying on my mat. Now it comes off with soap and water if you do wait too long, but I want this panel to dry as flat as it can, so I can remove the satin masking tape, revealing clean edges. Then I can leave this panel on my sticky mat grid to dry flat and stuck to the sticky mat and work on other elements of this card. Real quick, the panel dries in about 10 minutes or so, especially with small embellishments like the details in stencil number 4. I used the Just a Note sentiment from Crafter Life Project's kit, Arched Foliage, to make a gold heat embossed sentiment banner. Then with a scrap piece of vellum cut to about 5.5 by 1.25 inches, I'm ripping along both long edges to create a decal and texture, just so that the sentiment vellum banner is slightly taller and highlights the Just a Note sentiment. In that time my panel has dried enough to transport and manipulate, I found that the Mayan Gold Shimmer Relief Paste is such a good match to Gold Pearl Metallic Watercolor. I added just a little bit of splatter around where I want my vellum sentiment banner to go. Then I glued down the vellum, sentiment, and mushroom garden panel to a folded note card base. The shimmer relief paste coupled with the palette knives are such a hot item recently, and we are thrilled that many of your favorite retailers also agree. At Creativeation by NAMTA, I also took the inked poppies press plates from the display wall. Again, such inspiring samples on the display from the design team. Now, I have done this technique many times on the Altenew channel, but in my opinion, this really shows that some crafty tools might phase out in favor for better and innovative multifunctional crafting tools. I already covered an 80-pound white cardstock panel with more than enough rose gold colored foil so that I can adequately cover this panel with the inked poppies image. After foiling the better press plate using the glimmer system, I'm going to create a card using a very tried and true die cutting technique. I'll need the Mega Alphabet M die. Any large format die will work if you have ever done a die cut inlay. I'll center this image on my folded panel and cut out the letter M. I also die cut another M using rose gold brushed foiled cardstock. I'll adhere my full foiled panel to my folded note card base. Then I will use and offset the foiled M on top of the metallic cardstock M for a foiled drop shadow. I'll use the thicker 1/8 inch by 1/2 inch wide instant dimension foam tape to reposition the foiled M in the place it was before on my panel. I want to keep my sentiment simple on this card, so I'm using the One Go Sentiment Strips 2 and the Solid Sentiments Strips die to create a simple sentiment banner. I foam mounted and centered the Your and Inspiration sentiment on top of my M die cut. Then finally, I finished this card with an array of black enamel dots from the Essential Black and White Enamel Dot set. While hot foil plates may have been phased out, I love that the Better Press plates continue to thrive to create beautiful texture and foil like shown with inked poppies, as well as textured and inked sentiment strips as shown with One Go Sentiment Strips 2 press plate. For my final trending item, I'm going to break out another stencil that I had to have from the Altenew booth. This is the Stencil Art bi-monthly subscription service, and the stencil I chose from the subscription is White Cap Peonies. I immensely regret not participating in this design when it first came out, but fortunately I was able to get another chance to create with it this time. This Stencil Art White Cap Peonies does have an add-on die, but I won't be using it for this project. I'll break out my 9x12 sticky mat grid again to color this arrangement of 6 stencils. I'll quickly run through the colors I used on each stencil, starting with layer 1, of course. Since I had the Deco Garden Fresh Dye ink set out from the first project, I decided to use it again and create a unique mix and palette of colors. On stencil 1, I applied mid-yellow to layer C1 and a light blend of dusty pink with coral red to A1. On stencil 2, I applied a heavier layer of mid-yellow and coral red to A2, and a light wash of coral red to C2. On stencil 3, I applied a heavy layer of coral red to A3 and olive to C3. On the same stencil 3, I applied a light blend of navy just where the peony stem meets the flower on layer A4. On stencil 4, layer B1, I'm repeating the blend of the C group of images starting with mid-yellow. Then on B2, I'll apply Dusty Pink. D1, I'll apply a light blend of mid yellow. On E1, I'll blend Olive. On Stencil 5, layer B3, I'll blend Olive. D2, Dusty Pink. E2, Pool. Then finally on the last stencil, I blended a very, very light blend of navy on B4, a heavy layer of Dusty Pink on D3, and navy on E3. I had to add splatter, of course, so I used both pure white and jet black ink sprays for a dreamy glow to the peonies and set this aside to fully dry and settle. Another exciting crafty item at the Altenew booth is the wax seal set. Altenew has revitalized the wax beads, seals, and warmers set with trendy images. Overall, I love the smaller images because I find that I want to use wax seals on my card fronts and not so much on my envelopes. I also love that some of your favorite Altenew colors transcend into the wax bead colors, so Dusty Pink fresh dye ink on my card will match Dusty Pink wax beads. All I have to do is melt the beads using a tea light and the wax warmer set. I used the Mini Double Hearts wax stamp to stamp onto a puddle of Dusty Pink wax. Then with whatever excess I had on my hot spoon, I made my own coordinating enamel dots. And after any excess from that, I poured onto my silicone stamping mat to cool and returned that to my wax seal jar to be melted again. To highlight the hearts on my completed wax seal, I used the Gold Essential permanent marker to delicately color the wax seal. The nib is the perfect size to fill in even this small of an image. I peeled the wax from the silicone stamping mat as well as my wax dots. Then I can make my sentiment. I decided to use this sentiment and its offset die from Build a Garden through the tulips. Then I arranged my card. I kept the wax seal close to my offset die cut sentiment to help give this otherwise flat card a lot of texture with the wax seals, dots, and the foam mounted sentiment. To help diffuse the gold metallic pen, I incorporated some light gold pearl dots as well. I hope to see more vibrant wax seal colors that match colors in the Altenew line come out in future releases, as well as more stamps, of course. Otherwise, I am so excited the wax seals have made their way back to retailers. Shimmer relief pastes, the multifunctional better press plates, and wax seals. This is just a more recent sneak peek of what I can share from Altenew at Creativation by NAMTA. Also, Creativation also falls around the same time as Altenew's launch anniversary, so it's great to see another year of crafting innovation at the show. Here's to many more years of crafting your life with Altenew. My series encourages you to shop your existing Altenew stash and rekindle their love with newer releases. Perfect Pairings with Jaycee airs on the Altenew channel every second and fourth Sunday of the month. Please make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for tuning in to this Perfect Pairing episode with me, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hello there, crafty friend, Lydia here. Just popping in to say that you can get your daily dose of crafting tips, techniques, and tutorials just like this by subscribing to the Altenew YouTube channel. All you need to do is click on that little bell up there and you will never miss a video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.